can see this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to. Oh!
With the 2024 elections coming around the corner and President Joe Biden's run almost coming to an end, whether you like him or not, there's gonna be a re-election battle on both sides of the political aisle between President Biden and President Trump. To me, they really are two sides of the same coin, and depending on what time it is, one is worse than the other. Clearly seems like it's currently the left, with President Joe Biden having one of the least approval ratings of any president in recent years. So now more than ever, people on the left need to rally up some votes and support in order to get this man with dementia to run another 4 years. Oh god, another 4 years? What do you mean 4 more years? 4 more years, he's not even gonna be here. That's crazy. It doesn't take a genius to know that most of the influencers on the left who are advocating for Mr. Dementia over here are genuinely horrible people. They tell their audience not to do X, Y, and Z, and then they go on to do X, Y, and Z. And in recent days, Vosh, one of the most famous and influential Twitch streamers for those on the left, accidentally leaked his corn folder, and you would not believe what this man was into.
You can see this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to. Oh!
Even though this happened really quickly, that was all that was needed to unveil all the skeletons in his closet, or children. What internet investigators were able to uncover from the preview images on the folders was basically drawn bestiality, and also lolly. Don't worry, I also didn't know what lolly and lolicon was, and I wish I never knew. According to Urban Dictionary, lolicon is any adult who feels sexual attraction to specifically fictional depictions of characters whose body proportions closely resemble that of a child, regardless of the canonical assigned age. So basically it's drawn CP but spinned off in a way that makes it okay in their brain, because usually there is some BS context associated with this image, like, oh, actually the girl's actually 20,000 years old because she's a vampire. I know she may look like she's 12-year-old. Alright there, Buster, tell that to Chris Hansen, see how that holds up on court. And as you will later find out, his reasoning for why he thought having these pictures were okay is even more stupid than this. Also, I didn't know if I mentioned this yet, but apparently he's known to love horse and wishes to be a horse, and his fans are all okay with this, and they love that about him because bestiality is really cool, guys. To me personally, the electric chair, every single one of them. So going back to the lolly images, when Vosh responded to all these accusations, instead of focusing on the main course, like the main problem that people had with this leak, he instead did the thing where he focused on the small things that didn't really matter, generally just focusing on things that he can easily refute, but not the things that we were interested. It wasn't until Ethan Klein from the H3H3 podcast surprisingly went against his own party, which, as many of you guys know, Ethan Klein is very left-leaning, and that is very out of character for people in the same side of the political spectrum. Ethan Klein basically dedicated a whole episode exposing all of the shady things that Vosh was watching, and ultimately broke down his stupid reasonings and justifications for why owning lolly is okay. In the podcast episode, Ethan Klein would also reveal some of the past clips that had to be resurfaced.
It's possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well. That is possible.
Like zoophile, like drawn stuff, it should be 100% legal. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography, actual child pornography. We've all jerked it to lolly at some point or another. We've all, well, you don't have a penis. We have all, we have at some point in our lives been going fucking crazy on some hentai site, and we've been fucking stroking as hard and fast as we can, and then after we nut, we go back, look over our history chat, and we go like, oh jeez. Oh boy. Some of these girls looked pretty young. Okay.
Later in the same episode, Ethan would also react to Vosh's response to these accusations. All of these out of context clips that Vosh would always claim, and man did Vosh really mess up. Not only did Vosh confirm that they were in fact lolly and that they were young, but he would also give his brain-rotted reason why he thinks owning lolly is fine and justified.
The other one right here is like a threesome with 2 chicks and a guy, and in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that that artist is a lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think
bro, here's the thing.
Oh, come on.
If it's like even that close, like, oh, that might be lolly, but I'm not sure, then it's lolly. And you're a lollipop,
you saved
brother.
It. Not only did you look
saved
at it, you
that
saved
shit.
it. You wanted it forever.
String.
Everything looks like lolly shit 2 of them are confirmed. This is
Lolly artist.
Lolly explicitly that he thinks one of them doesn't look like kids.
He
but it is.
disagrees.
Yeah,
I
he
disagree with that.
I reject
And
that.
the other one, he's like, oh yeah, those are definitely kids.
I see where they're
yeah,
coming
that
from.
makes sense.
I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way
did not
like
see
goblins get drawn in porn. You'll
So
Oh my god.
this one definitely looks like Lolly. However, in my defense, I thought I was looking at a goblin porn.
But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right?
No,
that was
we
the
don't
vibe that I
know.
got because in the image, the girl that's shown has super thick legs and
No.
has like tits and a belly. So
No.
that knowing that the artist is a lolicon, which I have been roundly reminded of, obviously knowing that it was intended to be a lolly drawing. So like that's how it is, right?
Bravo.
It's a drawing. You get it without context.
The context is in the damn picture. It's a child. Fuck.
So there you have it. Vosh thought that because the figures were short and chubby, get this, he thought they were goblins. Even the drawings supposedly weren't anything related to goblins. Because they were short and chubby, they're goblins. Like, does that make it any better? Like, does that make it any better? I'm asking you guys. Also, he apparently didn't know that the creator of these drawings specializes in lolly drawings. But what Ethan Klein says, and a lot of people also say, the context of the creator doesn't really matter because the context is all in the drawings. The context is in the image. If it looks like a child, it's a child. People supporting Vosh are always quick to claim that these clips are all out of context and that you're not getting their full argument that Vosh is really trying to present. Okay, fine, sure. Taking from their fans themselves, this is his full context and his full argument for why owning CP is fine.
At one point, I made my anti-child argument so poorly that it got clipped out of context and people are using it as an argument that I support child.
My basic argument is that, like,
Why is
child
child
porn
pornography
bad?
bad? Because to produce it, you have to hurt children.
Because it hurts people to produce it, yeah?
Producing child requires harming a child. The argument I'm making is that it frustrates me that liberals recognize child pornography as bad. Great, nice, well done. But then they're really, really defensive of like global commodity production chains that involve child slave labor. Like they'll talk that off like really, really, really readily, you know? Like, oh, well, there's no other choice. Oh, well, we don't have to care about that. Oh, yeah, dude, like cobalt that's mined up is done by child slave. But, you know, like whatever, that's just how the economy goes.
Oh, dude, whatever. Like, we make computers. They look sick, bro. Like, don't think about it.
So that was the argument that I was making originally.
Good.
This is literally his explanation. Since children suffer from mines and factories for your own shoes and phones, and you still own them, you should also be able to own CP because children also suffer from that abuse. Otherwise, you're being a hypocrite. Essentially, he's trying to say that buying a cell phone and shoes is just as bad as owning CP. But how do you compare apples to literal CP? See, when people go out to buy shoes and phones or makeup, many of them aren't buying it with the mindset or with the drive of knowing that the children is suffering. But when people go out of their way to own CP and buy CP, they are directly looking for the suffering of children. CP is suffering of children, and that's what they get off of. The intent is more direct and more sinister, I think. When people buy shoes, they are buying shoes. But when people buy CP, they want child suffering, and that's what's fucked up about it. See, I have a hard time believing that they honestly believe this, because if the two of them are the same, let's follow that reasoning. They're basically revealing that they have no problems of watching and owning CP, since it's the same as owning and seeing a phone. And it's so crazy how their solution and their conclusion to this problem is that because they're both bad, I'm gonna do both. That tells me that they don't really genuinely believe this. At this point, everyone who's defending Vosh are actually just outing themselves as a PDF file. They need their computers thoroughly cleaned, burned, and doused in holy water. Okay, but let's just follow their thought process, okay? Let's smash our heads against the wall, lose a chromosome or two, maybe do a DIY lobotomy so we can like have their same mental wavelength as them, okay? Can we at least agree that these are still pedo habits, right? Pleasuring yourself from these drawings of children, can we at least agree on that? And this is the hill that a lot of Vosh people and people on the left are dying on. That's crazy. So let me get this straight. He hates it, but he has it. He rebukes it, but then goes on and jokes how he has accidentally watched Lolly and has Lolly in his history. And keep in mind, this was just a tippy top tip that we were able to see. We don't know what other crazy things he's been watching. It just makes me wonder, like, what else does he have hiding? I think the FBI should take a look into that taxes folder, because something tells me that it's more than just taxes. Going back to all of those comments he used to make about CP, all his arguments, all these supposed jokes, now that we know that he's had Lolly and drawn CP on his folder, it kind of changes everything, doesn't it? Doesn't it make it seem like he was just trying to justify it because he himself had it? For a community that's all about togetherness, they really don't like each other, and I can see why. I mean, look, this stuff is popping up every single day. These were the same type of people who were mad at Andrew Tate and his followers for liking young girls at 18 years old, but then they go off and do stuff like this. Like I said, it really just seems like they're two sides of the same coin. Anyways, that's about all I had to say about this topic. Let me know if you agree or disagree. You guys can hash it out at the comments down below. Always, thank you guys for watching, and thank you for all the support I've been getting recently.